This video may be a little bit ranty. It may be a little bit of just expressing thoughts that are internal. But I do want to share a little bit of stuff with you guys. So I've been thinking about humbucker pickups. This applies to bass and guitar, but I'm going to play bass today. There's a thing that happens with musical instruments when you have strings and you take two coils that are sensing the same thing, right? And there's certain frequencies are canceled depending on the design. This can happen with two coils right next to each other or two pickups that are spread apart like this. When you have two pickups that are spread apart and you select both of them, you encounter what they call comb filtering. Anybody that has a jazz bass or something like that and you turn both pickups up, you'll notice a dip in the mid-range and sort of like an overall volume dip as well. I bring it up because I feel like with a humbucker pickup, with the coils close together, you experience a little bit of a dip in the treble and a bump in the mids. That could also possibly be because two coils together is hotter, and generally the more wire you have and the more DC resistance of a pickup, you'll have a bigger mid peak and then a sharper treble drop off. Okay, so the whole point of all this is to say that something when they came up with the P-bass pickup was perfect, right? They came up with the P-bass pickup and it's two coils, but they're not sensing the same strings. They are separated. We'll get to that in a second. And so you don't experience the same sort of tone as you do with these kind of humbuckers. I want to get into this because this style of bass is always something that's great to me, but I always fight with it and I don't always vibe with it. So, because I'm talking about P basses, we're starting with the neck pickup. I'm going to start with this running into my DeCosimo 800 RB preamp pedal, which is kind of flat. It's not doing a whole lot. We're going to do the neck pickup. That's neck pickup. Here's bridge. It's going to be thin sounding, as bridge pickups are. And then you put both together and you experience what I'm talking about. Check out what happens to the tone. So when I'm listening to this, actually both pickups is my favorite tone. It sounds the best to me. So what's happening? Why do I like that? It's because of the mid-range. The mid-range of humbuckers on a bass has this nasal thing that I don't like. And I don't really know what the exact frequency is or any of that, but I just know that it's not appealing. A P-bass doesn't have that. And we'll make that comparison here in a little bit. I'll play the same riff on one of these other basses. In the middle here, with both, it sounds really good to me. And it brings out something else that was missing, but you lose a lot of what was there. Let's try to blend in between, right? So we have both flat in the middle. We're going to roll toward the neck, literally this far. All right. And then a little bit more. So that's all neck. A little bit toward the bridge. A little bit more. And then in the middle. And then we're going to start going toward the bridge from the middle. I do, I feel like I need to compensate in some way, shape, or form. Here's what I mean. I'm going to go to the neck pickup, and we're going to go. This pedal that I'm running through has a mid contour, so we're going to play this. That sounds really good to me. It seems like it's taking out a hair bit too much mids, but it sounds really good. So I've taken the mid contour out again. Here's neck. This bass has 800 hertz for the mid range. So let's try that. Taking it out. Not bad. And now we're going to roll back to the middle. I'm going to add 800 hertz to it on here. So I just boosted the 800 hertz up all the way, which is like 12 dB, and it still doesn't sound nasally mid-rangey. Here's flat again. So this, both pickups in the middle is canceling so much mid-range, I'm able to add 12 dB without it being over the top. I think this would really kind of shine when you do both, and then you start doing this. I'm going to go little mids, maybe a third of the way. Then we're going to add a little bass and maybe 75% of the treble. Compared to flat, I'm going to show you real quick. So ultimately what I'm getting at here is these style of pickups, the reason I feel like they put them in these active basses is because they want you to use the EQ. I feel like that is the design. But me being a simple creature, I don't want to use the EQ. I think that's exactly what's happening here, is I don't want to use the EQ. I kind of want to be in the middle, but I don't like what it's doing. So it's not this instrument's fault, it's me. Like, I'm the problem here. And I'm starting to see that more and more in things and in life. Me being the problem doesn't mean, like, that, I don't know, maybe I just shouldn't have this bass. I'm not really sure. I'm going to take both pickups again, and we're going to tweak on the DeCosimo pedal here. So, let's see. We're going to go high mid, low mid, a little bit of bass. And I'm hitting the high boost as well. We'll do that. These strings are a little bit old. Not bad. So, because I want to be sure to do this, I'm going to switch to the Joyo Tidal Wave for my preamp, because this is sort of more like a Sans amp. This sort of scoops the mids as well. So if I'm doing both pickups and this, we'll see what happens. sounds really scoopy. Let's try that neck pickup. I like that a lot more, and that's almost flat. I have a tiny bit of bass added. Check this out. Still neck pickup. This is the blend control on here. This blended with this kind of gives me what I'm after, I feel like. It kind of opens up the possibilities of bass being deep. But here's the thing, when it's too scooped, I'm going to go both pickups with this pedal. That sounds really good for like a chill song, a mellow song, but that's not the kind of thing I would want to use for rock. Let's see if we can adjust it for rock. The mid-range on here has a selector, so I'm going to try adding 1 kilohertz. Let's add more mids, see if I can do it without clipping. Let's try 500 hertz instead of that. Whoo-wee. 500 hertz, because of where it sits in the spectrum, adds a ton of volume. Neck. Very interesting stuff. I'm saying all this because I'm considering this bass is great for literally exactly what it is. I know what this is. This is not a P bass. This is not a jazz bass. This is not a Stingray. But I've been looking at possibilities of coil splitting pickups. If they're single coils, they'll sound different. I've looked at the Big Blade Man from Nordstrand, which is sort of Music Man-ish in a little case. I've looked at all this stuff, right? The big rigs from Nordstrand, the big splits from Nordstrand, the LeCompte triple threats have been really pulling my eye in that direction. Every pickup I just mentioned is not a true dual coil. It is 2 coils in a different fashion. A big split has a coil here and a coil here, each picking up half the strings. The big rig from Nordstrand has 2 coils, but the magnet's way over here and then the magnet's way down here. And so it's meant to offset some of the comb filtering. The LeCompte, they have a split coil, sort of like a P-bass, where you have 3 magnets and then 2 magnets. These are all things that have caught my attention, but I don't know if I should feel wrong about doing that to this bass when it comes to versatility and stuff like that. Like, this is a bass that is doing what it was created to do. I don't know. This is very deep and philosophical, but that's one of those things. So, here at the end, I want to do the main riff through the 800 RB and the Joyo Tidal Wave on the neck pickup one good time. And compare that to a P bass. So here we go. We will roll with this bass, which is a Glary GP Pro. This thing is about $100. This pickup is a DiMarzio Model P. this is a 500K volume, and what is essentially a tone styler. I'm going to bypass the tone control. These Model P pickups are really hot and really dark, and you got to plan around it. If you bypass the tone control, I'm seeing how loud this is. If you bypass the tone control, you wake it up a lot. 500K pot's perfect. So because I know this is going to be higher output, I'm adjusting accordingly. Here's that main riff through the 800 RB. Pedal. Okay, here we go. This is so much better in like every way to me, right off the rip. Yeah, I know that there's a thing going on here where these strings are newer. These strings are newer, so I like that. That's something about that sound that is just like popping off. But this is so loud and so high output, and it just, for this being a P-bass pickup, it contains every frequency under the sun. It is exactly what I want. It's doing it for me. So how do I translate this to that bass? Should I get something that is split coil to go under an EMG 40 shell? I don't know. I hope you like the comparison. I hope you can comment to say what you think about this. I feel like often I am just digging a one pickup bass, and that one pickup bass, P-bass, man, I'm telling you. But not just any P-bass pickup will give you this tone. This is ceramic. This is extremely hot. Like I told you specifically about the electronics, this is designed to let it breathe. Here, let me show you this real quick. We'll do the 800 RB. If this had certain tone controls and could darken it up, it could go from this to this. That's pretty mid-rangey. Or this. If you can't tell it, I am enjoying the tone of this. It's a big thing, is what does it do for you when you play it? I just thought of something good that we should at least do while we're making this comparison and we're doing all this. Let's do a slap comparison. I feel like this is where that other bass is going to shine. So we're doing the 800 RB pedal. We're adding the high boost and the mid contour. Both pickups. We are going to have to probably tweak a little bit here. I'm going to add some bass and some treble. Alright, let's see if we peak. Hearing it in the room, I'm not even enjoying this for slap as much. I'll listen back to the playback, but that's That's a wrap. I don't want to get rid of this bass. I'm just venting. Thank you for joining me on my journey.